I'm Alicia.
And I'm Maddie.
And welcome to the Fangirl Diaries, a podcast where we talk about our obsessions,
Reminisce about our teen icons,
and explore the books, movies, and shows that made us the incredibly nerdy 30-somethings that we now are.
Hey!
Hello.
Hello everyone who's listening as well.
And hello, welcome back Buffy fans, because quite frankly, if you're listening to this episode, we assume that A, you've listened to the previous 4.
Yeah.
And B, you're like a major Buffy nerd.
Yeah, we have gone into more depth on Buffy than anything else, any other series that we've covered. It's like a serious dedication.
Did you actually expect, when we started talking about this podcast, did you expect that we would do this?
No.
Nor did I.
No, we just got into it.
Yeah.
We were like, yeah, this is what we really want to talk about.
Yeah. I thought, when we were mapping this out, I thought, surely, or like, and I'm sure we'll do this, but surely we'll do like, we'll have to split up the Harry Potter books. We'll have to split up Game of Thrones. There's no way we can talk about that in one go. And then you started a big rewatch of Buffy. I rewatch it religiously every year, it seems. And it just does deserve discussion per season, which is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Although we are going to group 6 and 7 together.
Yes.
We think.
Yes. So today we'll be talking about season 5.
Season 5, yes!
It's all been building to this.
Wait, back when we started and we talked about season 1, I just knew we were going to get the opportunity to talk about season 2, which I adore, and season 5 I think is my other favourite.
Yeah.
How does season 5 rank for you? You've been rewatching in complete order quite intensively.
Yeah, I think it probably is my favourite. I think, although I did love season 2, I think season 5 is like more mature and like, yeah, just kind of has more of the darker themes and things that I quite enjoy. So yeah, I think it probably is my favourite one.
Yeah, it's this one and season 2, because I really think season 2 for me is when Buffy in the really early days really starts to realise how good it could be.
Yeah.
And we've talked about that in the season 2 episode, and we really get into the stuff of an angel, and it's as if it's like realised how to be as funny as it can be, how to max out all the different elements. But in season 5, it just feels like a really sophisticated use of everything it's been playing with so far. And the scope is the biggest.
Yeah, and whereas season 2 was like the peak of what they could do with like school era Buffy and those like iconic things around, Angel and the library and everything. This is like the peak of non-school Buffy.
Yes. This is the best season post the high school days, I certainly think. Now we've put off everybody from listening to our season 6 and 7 episode when it comes out. We're not going to bash it at that point, but this really is premiere Buffy. And this, I think, when I was rewatching it, must have been what was released on British television at a point when I really started watching Buffy chronologically on British television, because there's a string of episodes in season 5 when I think, oh gosh, yeah, I remember this as something like frighteningly maybe a 9-year-old. Because what year are we talking about here? Season 5 is something
2000. It's 2000. I looked at it. I was looking at the list of episodes, and they're coming out in 2000.
And boy, does it look like that!
Yeah,
because there's loads of points when I'm watching it thinking, oh, why don't someone just WhatsApp Buffy? And of course, it's before that. No one has a mobile phone really.
Like I'm sure people had text messages back then, but like you didn't put it in TV shows because it wasn't that important.
Nope. And we'll get to it in due course, but it starts to be a season where if you now compare this one to earlier Buffy, you can see the definite shift between 90s fashion and 2000s fashion. Season 5 Buffy starts to look like the OC a little bit. Whereas 90s Buffy looks like Clueless or Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Yeah.
Or even some of My So-Called Life, those kind of 90s shows or 90s films. Well, so we're getting off topic. We're talking about the scope. If you look at where this season starts and where this season ends, and we should say we're really going to roughly go through all the different aspects of this chronologically. But by the time you finish season 5, you forget that looking back at the beginning, they're in college, the mood is fairly bright.
It kind of starts where season 4 was, right?
Yep.
It really doesn't seem like it's going to be drastically different from season 4.
Yep.
as you say, they're still in college, and Buffy's with Riley, and they're kind of, the tone is similar, and you'll just think, oh yeah, we're just going to carry on as we did in season 4. But by the end, it is completely wildly different to season 4. It's just, we kind of forgotten about college. Relationships are vastly changed.
Mm-hmm.
And it very much seems like they took this series to kind of take Buffy into being like a full adult, rather than like college. She was not a college student. And obviously they've sped this all up, right? Because she doesn't go through 3 or 4 years of college and then become an adult. They've basically decided that she needs to be a full-on adult. Mm-hmm. And that's what she ends up being by the end of season 5.
You're right. Buffy at college as a concept doesn't last very long.
No.
They have to emancipate her from that setting pretty quickly. Spoiler alert, Buffy does not graduate with a degree.
No.
She is not getting a degree from that college. And we should also say, obviously, if you have not watched this season, I mean, just what are you doing on this episode?
Yeah, go away.
Go away.
Go watch it now.
We are, or even if you're halfway through, we're going to talk about the entire thing, and probably make reference to, the seasons prior. We will not talk about 6 and 7 because that is for later. But yeah, it does feel like it picks up from season 4. And season 4, we said, has a rather anticlimactic ending. There is the wrap up of the bizarre initiative storyline, and Adam, the sort of zombie robot,
creature mashed up with loads of different things all at once to become kind of the most powerful creature, but also not. Anyway,
just bizarre. We're glad to be done with that storyline. And season 4 has that rather psychological set of ending episodes that are dream sequences.
Yeah.
And you sort of think, oh, really? That's it?
And she meets the first Slayer and everything.
She meets the first Slayer. And it's satisfying once you've watched season 5 because you realise it's breadcrumbs of, there's the first Slayer. There is things like, if you watch the episodes with Faith, she says things like, gotta get ready for little sister. And the dawn is coming, or like something before the dawn. There's loads of, and it makes me happy because it makes me think there's proper long-term story arc planning.
There was an actual plan.
Yes.
But then the beginning of the season 5 kind of does what Buffy seems to do quite a lot, which is start with a slightly strange episode. Like the first episode is the one where like Dracula comes to town.
So random.
Like it feels like it should be like a random mid-season, not very important episode, but it's like the first episode of the whole season.
Yeah.
So weird.
Yeah, the season kickoff. And I have mixed feelings about that episode because you're right, it seems like a Monster of the Week random episode. You're totally right. When I rewatch it, it does actually have some of the funniest lines of this season. There's that one from Xander about, he's the guy that always gets the funny syphilis.
Yes.
And it is also the moment where you see, this is going to be Buffy's hairstyle for season 5. And it is her best. But like, it opens with some fight sequence and Buffy's got the slightly longer hair with the kind of curled blow dry. It's giving Kate Middleton before Kate Middleton was probably even a teenager. And I just think, this is the vibe.
It is good.
This is the vibe. It's the hoop earrings and the hairstyle. And there's some kind of either leather jacket or leather trousers. And I'm like, right, this is peak Buffy
serious
style.
Buffy
yeah, serious Buffy. But then we start to really get into it. And one of the things that we both love as a strength of this season is that it starts to rectify some things that didn't really work in season 4. There seemed to be a couple of things in season 4 as if the people designing the show maybe couldn't come up with a better alternative in time. And by the time we get to season 5, someone's had a better idea. The big one of these for me is the movement of the setting of Buffy from what was really kind of Giles's apartment / college to the magic shop.
Yes, which basically becomes the new library.
Exactly.
And it just fits the same vibe as the library. It fits the same like use and like becomes the home where they all kind of, that's where they go and do their research and where they like hang out together. And you almost, as it's going on, kind of forget that the library and the magic shop aren't the same place, ultimately.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I would have loved to be in that writers' meeting where somebody would have said, you know what, Giles' apartment kind of sucks.
Yeah.
What about this? And somebody else must have gone, yes.
Yeah.
That is going to work. Because it has everything. It allows them to have all their magical resources and weapons and tools and accessories, and to have a full-on library of books. But the bit for me that I love the most is when it is revealed in true kind of almost YA fantasy book style that at the back of the library, Giles has built a training centre.
You love a training centre.
I love a training centre.
You love a training montage. You love a training centre. You love scenes where they're training and fighting.
Oh, I just love it. And in season 5, it has them all.
Yeah.
It has them all. Because we used to have Buffy and Giles's training regime basically took place in the library before. Yes. We had her doing aerobics in the library. And there wasn't really space for it.
No.
And they were sort of fighting with wooden staffs. And I thought, we got to up our game here. This just isn't right. And somehow the lack of a training space in season 4 seemed to dovetail with the fact that, remember Buffy spends a lot of season 4 kind of being off her game?
Yeah.
She doesn't feel like her and Giles' relationship is the same. He kind of briefly quits as her watcher and is fired. So I like that we start strong in season 5 where Buffy begins by saying she needs Giles as her watcher. I think she kind of rehires him.
Yeah.
In some way. Do you remember he's going to leave? And then she actually has that conversation with him about, I need you.
Or does he actually leave?
He's going to.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't leave. He's thinking about it. He's told Willow that he's going to go back to England.
Yeah.
Buffy feels like she was a little bit weak against Dracula.
Yeah.
And so the start of season 5 begins with her saying to Giles, not only do I need you, but I need to be stronger. I need to focus on this. I need a training regime and I need to be serious about it.
Yeah.
And then we go into Giles opening the training centre. There's those brilliant montages of Buffy in season 5 is actually at peak Slayer.
Yeah.
And she talks about it. She feels stronger, faster, better.
Yeah.
And as a viewer, it's so satisfying.
Definitely. Yeah. Sometimes you just got to lean into being what you're meant to be rather than a lot of shows and movies that are about superheroes and things. It's all about the struggles and the weaknesses and we've got to make this multi-dimensional superhero. But actually sometimes just going, yeah, no, I am really good at this and showing that in the series where it really works.
Yep. I don't like mopey Buffy in the same way that I don't like mopey Katniss or mopey Violet. I'm just I want them peak strength being a hero.
Yeah.
And that's what we get in season 5.
Yeah.
Until, and we'll get to this later, until Buffy loses faith, as in faith in herself, not faith the character.
It's a bit
And it makes it more powerful because you've gone from a high to a low.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've relocated to the magic shop. Before we move off from that, can we please talk about the brilliant comedy moment when Giles briefly wears a wizard's outfit? He decides that to run the magic shop,
he needs to be a wizard.
He briefly needs to dress as Dumbledore. And Buffy just gives him a look you cannot be serious. Take that off right now.
The other thing that the magic shop gives us obviously is more for Anya to do as well, which is great.
Oh, it's so good for her.
And the relationship between Giles and Anya and also they're adults, they need to have something to do, so giving her a job really makes sense.
Yep.
And yeah, it gives a lot of scope for her comedy to kind of shine.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Giles's apartment just wasn't creating any opportunities for character development or comedy, or it just wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
Whereas the idea very early on about employing Anya is brilliant.
Yeah.
It's completely brilliant. She's such a shark. She's so interested
She's so great.
in money.
Yeah.
She's got a strangely literal ex-demon. She is fantastic. And as we move towards season 6, it's the perfect setting for Willow to access more magic, more magical objects, more magical books. Mm-hmm. So no, it's 100% the right move.
All right.
Then we have got the season starts, and I almost forget it when we get to the end. we've got to talk about the fact that Riley is still there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We can talk about Riley. As you say, forgettable.
Forgettable?
Yeah, he exists.
If there's any Riley fans, we're sorry.
Look, they had to get rid of him at some point. We talked about this in the previous season.
He had to go.
He wasn't end game for Buffy,
no.
And therefore he needed to go. And I think they probably took their time about it for some reason. They maybe liked the actor. I don't know. But
poor Mark Blucas.
But ultimately, yeah, you do feel like they're writing him out and that they needed to write him out. Yeah. And it's fine. Like, he quite early on realizes that Buffy doesn't love him. And which is right. Like, even if Buffy wouldn't have said it herself, like, we could all tell what Riley was saying, which is like, yeah, this isn't going to last. And he kind of realizes it. And so then they give him this like weird depression / like addiction to vampires storyline that seemed very out of character for him. But I guess they just wanted to like really seal the deal that he wasn't coming back.
Yeah. In this, at the start, it's really the first third of this season. And the writers tire of Buffy. Sorry, no, the writers tire of Riley. Not Buffy. The writers tire of Riley. Buffy tires of Riley. And we tired of Riley a long time ago.
Yeah. And I think Riley tires of
Riley.
He's like, oh, well,
yeah.
Why am I here?
Absolutely. Why? I have a question, because it's sort of unanimously agreed that Riley sucks. But why does Riley not work for you?
Well, because Buffy's like an interesting character who has like, you know, you want to see her with someone who's her like intellectual and like, I guess physical, but it's not even the physical. It's like her back and forth and her intellectual equal. She needs somebody who she can like spar with in like that like way that is interesting for television and also interesting for her life. And you can just tell that Riley is like, he's just the jock, right? Like, he's nothing more than that. He never was anything more than that. He was a soldier, but that's just like an adult version of a jock. Like, and I think that stereotype just doesn't work for someone like Buffy.
Even though I find him as a character boring, the way that the season allows us to see Buffy starting to find him boring, I actually think is more sophisticated than we're maybe allowing it to sound. Riley, when he was first introduced in season 4, seemed like he could have been a good idea and then lost steam because they did try to create someone who is Buffy's physical equal. Ish. Without being the Slayer, he's a pretty tough dude.
Yeah.
And the action sequence in which they both reveal each other's identities back in season 4 is that one where they're basically fighting the gentleman.
Yeah.
And they're kind of, it's quite fun. And they're working as a team and you think, oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
This guy. Okay, cool. But he is not Buffy's verbal equal.
No.
You're right, their conversational sparring is just not there.
No.
And we'll get to this later, but the writers start to favour all exchanges involving Spike.
Yeah, of course.
And that is just the death knell for Riley. But when I say this is quite sophisticatedly done, the way they write him out, they start to actually let that play out on screen deliberately. So we have some brilliant exchanges in this season between Spike and Riley, with Spike basically saying, you know, you're the white bread, mate. You're out of here.
Yeah.
You know, she likes a little monster in her man. And you think, oh, God, it's true.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, you're out of here, Riley. You can't compete with the interest that we as viewers have in other characters.
Yeah.
You're not interesting enough for Buffy. And you're not getting enough screen time. And Buffy's not giving you enough mission time because you're dull. You're boring. The most interesting bit with Riley is when the Scoobies are sort of following him around on a hunt. I think Buffy's gone away on her let's go and talk to the first Slayer and basically like take mushrooms in the desert style thing.
Yeah.
And so the Scoobies are like having to back up Riley.
Yes.
You know, Xander's wandering along behind him eating Doritos.
Like not taking it seriously.
They're slowing him down.
Yeah.
He's like doing all these like military sign language. But after that, you do feel like we need to cut this bit of dead weight from the season.
Yeah.
And the season is so much stronger without him that you almost forget he was there.
Yeah, by the end I had forgotten that he was even in this season. You kind of think he must have left around season 4 sometime.
Yes. But some of the best and most sophisticated writing in this season comes around their relationship breakdown. And you don't often have Buffy verbalize her quite complicated relationship feelings, which is part of Riley's problem.
Yeah.
That's what Riley struggles with. But when they have probably one of the longest back and forth pieces of dialogue that those two characters have, when Riley is trying to explain why he feels that he might potentially leave because Buffy does not make space for him in her life. She cuts him out, she sidelines him, and he doesn't feel important. I don't know, it's not supernatural at all. Nothing to do with that storyline is supernatural. And it's a real strength of Buffy that you think, whoa, this is a really accurate relationship chat.
It feels very real, like it would be a real scenario that you could see two people going through. And yeah, it doesn't... And that's always been what Buffy's been really good at, right? Is like using this structure of a supernatural series, but talking about real things. And in this case, very literally kind of just playing out a real relationship. Yeah,
and she's furious with him because he's exposed something very, very true. A constant character flaw of Buffy's is that she's very self-involved. She has to be. She's the Slayer. She thinks she's going to tough out every situation on her own. She fundamentally doesn't think Riley is that interesting and doesn't involve him. So everything that's being said in that chat is completely true.
Yep.
And then the second brilliantly scripted discussion that the show also has scope for is wonderful, which is when Xander steps in and says, Buffy, Xander is right. No, Riley is right.
Yeah.
You do sideline him. It's not fair. And it's the first time we really see Xander have a proper go at Buffy. Apart from when she briefly vanished at the start of season 3 and they're all mad at her for leaving town.
Yeah.
But Xander's normally such a cheerleader of Buffy that it's interesting to watch him set her to rights a bit.
Well, I think in a way maybe he almost like puts himself in that position as well, because he's, obviously we're looking right the way back to like season 1 here, but he did kind of like Buffy for quite a while.
Oh, for sure.
And like, he probably can see that she's treating him badly, and it probably does make him think, like, put himself in that position as well, and be like, yeah, maybe that's how she would treat me, or like, I think he can kind of, he can empathize with Riley.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's one of the best bits of acting from Nicholas Brendon, who otherwise is mainly used for comedy.
Yeah.
When he says to her, I can see where he can see where Riley's coming from. He is sidelined. It's not fair. Buffy is being entirely selfish, and that she could potentially lose a really good person.
Yeah.
Because from one perspective, Riley's safe. He loves her unconditionally. He's a good guy. All the reasons we find him boring. And we're watching it thinking, yeah, but Buffy's right here. Like, all right, Xander, but Buffy's right. And it creates that wonderful sequence where, to segue maybe into their relationship, he goes back to the apartment and tells Anya how much he loves her and is obsessed with her. And he says, if I don't say it enough, I really appreciate you. I'm so obsessed with you.
Yeah.
And it's probably the most poignant moment of their relationship.
Yeah.
So far, or in this season.
Yeah.
Shall we do Anya and Xander, Tara and Willow, and what happens with them in season 5?
Well, I feel like before that we need to talk about like the biggest change of the season.
We do. You're so right. You've looked at my notes page and realised we've skipped it.
The biggest thing that is different about this season, and it's completely wild and bold and crazy that the producers and writers did this, which is Dawn.
Oh my god!
Like
Dawn.
The biggest step change in any of the seasons is the introduction of Buffy's younger sister Dawn. And I like so vividly remember the first time I watched this season years and years ago, and I had been watching them back to back on like, speed running through episodes because I was enjoying season 4 and like getting into season 5 and watching it and genuinely believing like I had just completely missed that she had a younger sister. I was just like so convinced. I was like, well, I guess maybe she just had a younger sister the whole time that wasn't very important and was like played by a child actress that I kind of ignored. And now they're just going to make her a bigger character. And I just like somehow missed this whole person.
So wait, you thought Dawn was there the whole time? Possibly.
Possibly. I was like,
wow.
And I reckon a lot of people back in the 90s, noughties probably had the same experience because we didn't have like the internet to go and look up and like all discuss afterwards, be like, hey, do you remember Dawn? Do you remember Dawn? I reckon a whole load of people wouldn't have seen the previous season for like a year because it was, or a few months at least, because it came out like week by week over the course of the year. So it would have been a few months break. They probably hadn't rewatched unless they were the kind of people that had the DVDs or videos even. And you'd just come to it and you'd be like, oh yeah, maybe she does just have a sister.
For the purposes of this podcast, in case people also can't remember how the hell this works, which is completely fair, Buffy categorically does not have a sister in the previous seasons. She is an only child. And suddenly in season 5, the audience is introduced to Dawn, her little sister, who Buffy is acting as if Dawn has been there the entire time.
Yeah, with absolutely no comment. There's no character who doesn't know who Dawn is. Like everyone, they've done this before where they've had episodes where like time has been changed or characters been changed, particularly around like Jonathan and various episodes like that, where like, yeah, you go into it and something is fundamentally different.
Yeah.
But normally you're given clues.
Yeah.
Like one person doesn't quite think it's right, or like it's so obviously ridiculous that you can tell that it's part of the plot of that single episode.
Yeah, someone's made a wish, or it's an alternative universe episode, or a different dimension.
So either you think this is going to be a one episode thing, but it's not, it just carries on with like, and it takes quite a while before anything is revealed that is weird about it.
Yeah. Before the concept is explained. For the purposes of this episode, the concept is that there are always a series of dimensions at play, and that portals can be opened between these hell dimensions by way of a key, which makes said key an extremely dangerous item, if you will. So a group of religious monks have used magic to transform the key into a human girl and placed her within the care of the Slayer. And while doing so, have altered the memories of everyone around her to make it seem like Dawn was there the whole time.
So they just accept her and treat her as Buffy's sister, like, just, there is no question. There is no confusion. There is just Dawn.
When you explain it, and when I reflect on it, it is the riskiest risk that Buffy ever takes as a show, because it's fundamentally stupid.
Yeah.
And it could have been catastrophic. I actually think if it hadn't worked, this could have torpedoed the whole show because it's so silly.
And I do remember a few episodes thinking like, Dawn is kind of annoying. Like, why is she here? She's kind of messing things up for Buffy.
But I'm then going to say, I think this is one of the best things Buffy ever does as a show. It's the best risk it ever takes and totally pays off.
Yeah.
It's fundamentally a move into something quite high concept, which you and I enjoy.
Yes.
It really shows that season 5 has been thought about, which I like. And it puts another character in play to, exactly like you said, to kind of frustrate Buffy.
Yeah.
I like that Buffy gets annoyed by her little sister. Dawn's a bit of a kleptomaniac. She's also a massive klutz.
Yeah.
She keeps endangering herself in a way that allows comedy with Spike.
Yeah.
That allows comedy with Buffy. It gives Joyce more to do.
Yeah.
And it starts to create a little family unit around Buffy that diversifies what was otherwise just Joyce and Buffy as a mother-daughter duo.
Well, what they managed to do, again, like, as we said, this season just, like, transforms over the whole course of the, whatever it is, 22 episodes. And, yeah, you go from confusion to, like, getting to know Dawn as a person and as a character to, like, reveal around, okay, well, actually, she isn't real, but yet resolving with, well, no, actually, she's just as real to Buffy and to everyone and to the family, and therefore to you as the viewer. They successfully make you, as the viewer, over 20 episodes, genuinely feel like, even though technically she's the product of some magic, she is so a part of that family and those friends that you believe it fully.
Yeah. If you don't care about Dawn, it doesn't work.
No.
And it makes you successfully care about Dawn.
Absolutely.
Which is quite like a testament to the strength of this season.
Yeah.
Very impressive. Because she's fundamentally like made out of mist or something. Like she's not real.
Yeah.
But it really treats her as a character that's worthy in their own right. Like, even from her very introduction, I love when she's introduced. Do you remember it has her writing in her diary with a voiceover through an episode where it's brilliant because she knows Buffy is the Slayer, so she's in on that.
Yeah.
On that story. But it's what it's like to have a Slayer as a sister.
Yeah.
And it allows comedy with, like, she thinks her and Riley are upstairs, like, having sex all the time. And it's funny because Dawn's, like, 14, so this is from a, like, child's perspective, thinking her big sister's off with her boyfriend.
Yeah.
And she has a crush on Xander.
Yeah.
So there's just, like, fantastic comedy. She starts to fancy Spike.
Yeah,
which is
there's
so
also
good.
really good, like, the classic thing that Buffy does, which is take something magical and use it to tell you something true about humans and how we live, and taking the, like, teenage experience. Like, when she finds out that she is the key and she's not really part of the family and, you know, she's not even really real. Like, although that's a supernatural experience, what it's mirroring is, like, a real feeling that so many teenagers feel of, like, not feeling like they're really part of a family, or, like, you know, if they're going through, you know, living with different parents, like they're going through a divorce, or, like, and not feeling wanted, or not feeling, even if they are wanted. So many teenagers feel exactly like that.
Yep.
And it gives the space to, like, experience that kind of feeling of, like, I don't belong, I'm not wanted, I'm not a part of this family, which many people go through.
Yeah. It works so well because, as you said at the beginning, Buffy and the Scoobies, because they're all contemporaries, are now in a place where they're 20, 21. So they're moving into an adult kind of arena. And introducing Dawn almost allows those really teenage aspects to come back in. Yeah. Because Dawn is fundamentally a contemporary of a lot of the viewing audience. This is still a kind of teen show.
Yeah.
And Michelle Trachtenberg, from 0 to 100 in one season, has to do some really good acting. You're right, when she finds out she's the key, she has a full psychological breakdown, as you probably would. She really finds life with her sister challenging. She feels sidelined all the time. And whoever is writing Dawn decided, if we're going to put this concept in here and we're going to put this actress in here, Michelle Trachtenberg, I think, is really good.
Yeah.
Really, really good. We're going to give her serious stuff to do.
She's got that classic younger sister thing of, like, wanting to be like her older sister. Like, she's always wanting to, like, join in and, like, go on the missions or help out or do whatever. Being told, no, like, you're too young, you can't do any of this stuff, it's too dangerous. And, like, so wanting to be like her sister, but also that, like, also that kind of, not hatred is the wrong word, but, like, she does get frustrated and dislike Buffy a lot. And that's a very common kind of sibling rivalry kind of experience, where the younger one is, like, contradictory, like wanting to be like them, but also really frustrated by them.
It is also an example of, again, season 5 rectifying a flaw of season 4, which is that in season 4, I wouldn't be able to quite pinpoint what Buffy cared about and what was on the line for Buffy, which I think is why the whole initiative thing felt kind of empty and why Buffy feels a bit lost in season 4. Whereas in seasons 1 through 3, Buffy cares about Angel.
Yeah.
Buffy would die for Angel. Buffy will fight for Angel. Buffy will lie for Angel. And that's absent in season 4. In season 5, they realise we've got to give Buffy something that she will, you know, absolutely go to the wire for, but it's not romantic for the first time, because Riley is written out halfway through. We've not really got into the swing of the Spike storyline.
Not fully, no.
No, so there's not really a romantic lead for Buffy to have here, and I think that's more sophisticated. She loves her sister.
Yeah.
Which, again, massive risk of the show, but it's probably the most powerful one.
Yeah.
And of course, Oh no, it's coming up later. I was going to say we need Dawn because we're going to exit Joyce, but oh my god, we'll have to build up to that because I might cry.
Okay, well, let's talk about the other couples then.
Yeah, Tara and Willow, Anya and Xander.
Yeah,
what's it like for them in season 5?
I feel like mostly they're quite stable relationships in season 5, right? Compared to other seasons.
Yes.
Those 4 kind of just like stay in their couples and they become characters that are kind of useful for the plot and they bring comedy or drama, but they're not the center of the storylines most of the time. I don't know.
No, I think that's right. In terms of getting together or breaking up or relationship changes, those have mainly played out for those characters actually in season 4.
Yeah.
We had Tara and Willow get together, we had Anya and Xander get together. So in season 5, it's almost a nice respite that those people are in like loving relationships.
But I think each of them probably gets like interesting episodes where that's focused on them individually.
They do.
So like I really quite like the one where Xander's split in half.
Yes!
And there's like 2 versions of Xander.
Yes!
And like at first you're convinced that like one's the evil manipulative, like, and that's not really Xander, that's like some demon that's pretending to be Xander, and the other one is real Xander.
Mm-hmm.
And what you actually learn is that like they're actually both just versions of Xander and parts of his personality that have been split in half, and one is the more like caring and serious and quite responsible and romantic half, and the other is the goofy, funny, silly half. And for loads of it, we as the audience assume that the goofy, funny, silly half is all that Xander is, and we don't. And it kind of like takes that episode for us to realize, no, Xander has all of those other qualities as well, and they are a part of him, and that's really nice. And I think he learns from that as well, and like accepts that and becomes more responsible and serious about his relationships and things, like from having seen that himself. It was really nice.
You've given a new level of meaning to an episode that I otherwise write off as semi-forgettable.
Really?
Yeah,
I like it.
No, as you're talking about it, I thought, God, yeah, that is true. That's a good one. But maybe it's because it sits right in the middle of a string of like various other important things. But and that's Nicholas Brendon's twin in that episode, which I always love. And I think, whoa, that's a good use of someone's identical twin. I bet the writers thought we've got to use this somehow. Yeah. It's just too good to have 2 Nicholas Brendons. We've got to write a twin episode.
And Tara gets a great episode as well. She gets the one where her family come back and we learn about her backstory of her family.
Yeah, that's one of my favourites, actually.
Yeah, so her family come and they essentially, it seems like over the years, they've created this like myth around the women in the family that they're all demons or like somehow harboring demons, that when they like become adults, they're going to become the demon.
They gaslit her before gaslighting was even a word.
It turns out it was all just made up, and it was just a manipulation to keep the women in the family like under wraps and under the father's thumb.
Yeah. It's an incredibly serious episode, actually. Yeah. It's about patriarchy. It's about repressive families. It is about magic as a metaphor for self-actualization.
Yeah, and her being gay as well is part of that. Like it's not just about her magical powers, it's also about her sexuality. And ultimately, we're not sure how Buffy and the rest of the gang are going to react, because there is some fear genuinely during the episode that she might actually be a demon. And we don't know whether that's true or not, and Buffy and the gang don't know if that's true or not. But ultimately they stand by her, and they kind of stand up to her biological family and say, no, we're her family. It starts something in season 5 that I really like, which is Buffy, Giles and the gang starting to wield their power a bit more. And I don't mean power in a magical sense. I mean exactly that. There's a series of episodes in this season that is people standing up to otherwise more powerful people or structures. So in this episode, Tara kind of relinquishes her family. There's the inexplicable cameo from Amy Adams. As her sister. Okay. And it's like the writers realised Tara was maybe a little bit of a side character, and there needed to be the affirmation that she really is a Scooby. And so
there's that wonderful sequence where Buffy says, you know, you've got to go through me to get to her. And it's really emotional. It's really powerful. That episode is fantastic. But also aligns with I can't remember if it's before or afterwards, but do you remember when all the English Watchers Council come back to sort of check on Buffy and assess her?
And they like interview everyone.
Oh, that's great. They interview Spike.
Yeah, and they interview Anya, who's like trying to like pretend she's human.
Oh, it's so good. But you also think, oh, bloody hell, not these guys again, because they're always awful. It always means something bad for Buffy. But it's the first time when Buffy and Giles effectively tell them to sod off.
Yes. Like completely.
Completely.
Yeah.
Giles wants his salary reinstated.
Yeah. And
Buffy gives a speech in the magic shop about how much value each of the Scoobies bring to the table. And why it is that, I think she said, Xander has more field time than anyone else. And you think, that's true? How is he still alive? He really has been in a lot of fights.
Yeah.
And she goes around each and every one of them. And you really think at this point, right, that's the end of the Watchers Council. Like, Buffy and Giles and the Scoobies are now above them.
Basically told them to sod off.
And it's so good.
Yeah.
Okay, so Tara and Willow, really, they're doing well in this season. Their relationship is great. But then we have the loss of Tara's mind.
Yeah.
That's sad.
It's really sad.
That allows for, again, great acting from the pair of them, which I think is really good.
And Willow kind of, doing anything that she can to try and, like, help and fix the situation and support her. And, Yeah,
it's an extension of the season putting people we care about, who we maybe didn't care about that much about a season and a half ago, in real jeopardy. And us thinking, oh my God, there's something really at stake here. We desperately care about Tara. We desperately care about Dawn. And these weren't names back in season 3.
Yeah.
And suddenly they really, really matter. And it allows Alison Hannigan to do like the best acting that she kind of can. So that is them. And then I have noticed that we didn't address, when we talked about Dawn, the other side of that coin, which is Glorificus.
Yes, Glory, who has come to get Dawn, or she doesn't even know that she's come to get Dawn, but specifically needs the key to get back to her dimension, right?
Yep.
She's like trying to get home, essentially. But she needs the key, and unfortunately the key is Dawn.
Yep.
She is a great villain.
She is a great villain. She's my second favourite Buffy season villain.
Yeah.
The first being Spike and Drew of season 2 fame. But Glory feels like a proper baddie.
Yeah, she comes in and basically like proves that she's like stronger than literally anyone that we've seen so far in like the first episode that she's in. She's like physically more powerful. And I think we learn pretty early on that she's essentially a god.
She is. She's a hell god.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
That puts her at like above anything we've seen before, which is a problem with these kind of shows where you keep having to come up with something that's even more powerful than the last time. But that's fine. She does it. And I think the way that it's fun kind of reminds me of a way that sometimes they do like demons and things in Supernatural, where they're kind of sexy.
Yes.
And like, but also like, know that they're powerful, but also just use it in a really flippant way. Like they're really above everyone else around them. So she has all her like demon followers that always come and do her bidding, and they're always hilarious. These like kind of, they come across as like they're very subservient to her, and they're like kind of dumb, and she just like rips them apart all the time. It's kind of hilarious.
Whoever developed that dynamic, it's one of the best. I mean, Glory is one of the best baddies in all of Buffy. Like, in comparison, you're right, she's a god. I mean, the mayor was just a giant snake.
Yeah.
Like, she makes other Buffy villains look stupid.
Yeah.
She feels genuinely threatening, and at the same time has that wonderful element of being incredibly funny.
Yeah.
The relationship between her and her kind of minions always reminds me of the Hades pain and panic dimension in Hercules.
Yeah.
And the writing around Glory and those minions is brilliant. Like, I can't believe that people came up with things like, your most perfumed one. your bouncy hairedness one. So funny.
It is funny.
And you're right, she looks like she's walked out the pages of Vogue.
Yeah.
She always looks immaculate. Clare Kramer is beautiful. I always find it so weird to watch Bring It On, because she's one of the the bitchy cheerleaders in Bring It On. And every time I watch Bring It On, I'm like, but that's Glory. She's a hell god.
The most important being in the universe.
Yeah, and inexplicably, Faith is also in that as well. Eliza Dushku is in this. Yeah. So in an alternative universe, many of the Buffy characters appear in the 2000s cheerleading movie Bring It On. But Faith is actually an apt comparison here, because I like when Buffy is pitted against almost like a dark version of herself.
Yeah.
Like when it's Buffy versus Faith or Buffy versus Glory, I'm also not sure whose outfit I like better. I don't know who's going to win in a fight.
Yeah.
But I haven't decided whose hair is more on point. It's so much more satisfying than watching Buffy fight the mayor.
Yeah, the mayor was,
The mayor sucks. But Glory is brilliant and funny, but really threatening. Really, really threatening.
Yeah, and she has that anger that you see in good villains like that, where she's all cool and calm and collected, then something sets her off and she just gets that anger in her eyes and just takes it out on someone. Yeah, pretty good.
And when we think about the sophistication that this season has room for, I always forget that it even has breathing space for minor but brilliant subplots, like that Ben is Glory and Glory is Ben, and that they can shapeshift into one another.
Yes.
Because that allows for so much nail-biting tension when the Scoobies are talking to Ben.
Yeah,
and you think, oh my god, this is going to be Glory.
Dawn kind of makes friends with Ben for a while in the hospital.
Dawn has a thing for older guys, doesn't she? Dawn's crushing on Xander. She decides she really likes hanging out with Spike. Yeah. and Ben. And that just works really well. We're going to have to come back to Glory when we talk about the big wrap-up.
Yeah.
But I've mentioned my favourite character now, and now we're going to have to go into it. Can we please talk about Spike?
Yeah.
Finally, a season of Spike.
A season of Spike.
A season of Spike.
I do kind of feel bad for Spike in this season. He doesn't know what he's doing most of the time. He's kind of for the first half, he's still convinced he hates Buffy and is trying to kill her. Then at some point it flips and he realizes he's obsessed with her, but he won't really admit it. Keeps at one point, he brings back all his girlfriends. There's that.
Oh, that's a
episode
great episode.
And he's basically just being ripped into the whole season. And it's a bit sad, but it is very funny.
This season decides what to do with Spike in a way that we said he was kind of on pause in season 4.
Yeah.
He was being used as a bit of a comic foil. He was watching Passions with Giles.
Yeah.
They had him chained up in the bath.
Yeah.
But they hadn't really decided what they were going to do with him.
Yeah.
And I'm convinced that it's in Something Blue in season 4, where Buffy briefly is tricked into falling in love with Spike and pretending that they get married.
They get married yeah.
That some writer thought, oh, they've got chemistry.
Yeah.
Let's start to work this in.
Yeah.
And it really does work.
Yeah.
But you're right, the season starts with Spike trying to, get rid of Buffy, and it all turns on its head when I always, every time I watch it, I think it's real, where they have that bizarre kiss moment that's really hot. And then it turns out it's Spike's dream.
Spike's dream, yeah.
And he's like, oh no. That's so good.
But Buffy's quite cruel to him in this season.
Oh, she's a bitch to Spike.
She's really nasty to him. And but I guess that works for the audience because it really makes you feel for Spike as more than just this funny evil vampire.
Yeah.
You realise that he's got emotions, and you feel bad when Buffy's nasty to him.
Yeah, in a way that... Okay, so to contrast him with Riley, because this really is the swap-over season.
Yeah.
Riley's out, Spike starts to be in. And Buffy treats them both pretty badly. For Riley, that takes him to a really dark place. He's almost too sensitive for Buffy. He has emotional needs that she can't really meet.
Yeah.
Spike can take it and give it back.
Yeah.
So you start to think as a viewer, oh, this could work.
A bit more of a match, yeah.
Yeah,
Although
exactly.
It's that one bit where she says oh, you're beneath me.
Oh, that's terrible. I hate that.
I'm just how can you come back from that? There are moments when I think how do you actually form a relationship on top of this? And I know that all happens in like the next season.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really hard. Like it's kind of, not healthy relationship starting points, basically.
Yeah.
And we know that.
Yeah, that's right. The season starts to realise that it's going to position Spike as a kind of romantic lead because, and you always know this is coming in a show, when somebody starts to wear more eyeliner and starts to get a better haircut.
Yeah, and their clothes just get a little bit better.
They get a little tighter. There's a little bit more of like Spike in a really tight t-shirt. And you do start to think, oh, okay. This shirtless Spike in this season? Like, what is in that scene where the dream kiss?
Yeah.
Spike like gets angry and just randomly like unclothes. And you think, okay, all right. Why? I don't know why this is happening, but I'm here for it. Okay, fine. And yeah, his weird bleach hairdo starts to become a little bit ruffled.
Yeah, a bit less, awkward.
And they use Dawn as a fill-in for the audience because Dawn starts to declare that Spike is sexy.
He's kind of hot, yeah.
And so the audience are like, okay, Dawn said it. Maybe we can say it. And you can see Buffy think, oh my God, someone suggested that Spike is sexy. She's like outraged that Dawn thinks this. Yeah. And yet it plants a seed.
Yeah. You know who's more outraged?
Who?
Xander.
Oh, so much.
Xander hates Spike so much.
Yeah.
And it continues to. There is no, like, saving them.
No. Although they do have some great moments, the two of them as a comedy double, starting in this season where they just have to kind of do a couple of missions together and it's funny.
Yeah.
But also, Giles hates Spike.
Yeah, true.
And there's that quite serious moment because we as an audience have had a bit of fun with Spike's crush on Buffy and it's allowed for some brilliant episodes. And Giles completely changes the tone. He's having none of it. Yeah. Do you remember he says to Spike something like, get over this. It's not happening.
Yeah.
Forget it, basically. And you think, oh, just a little bit like Buffy being mean to Spike. I don't like Giles being mean to Spike. I'm like, he's been helping you guys.
Yeah.
Let him in the gang.
No, but he is a vampire.
Yeah. It makes for his and Dawn's relationship to be interesting because the two of them feel sidelined by the Scoobies and form a little club of their own out of that, which is nice. And also, if you were 14-year-old Dawn, you just would be sneaking off to like Spike's crypt.
Yes.
It's the equivalent of like smoking behind the bins, isn't it? You're like, that's
cool,
kind of the cool place.
Slightly edgy thing to do.
Yes. And despite Buffy's cruelty towards Spike, she does at times realise that Spike, really apart from Willow, is the most powerful one.
Yeah.
She puts Dawn and Joyce with Spike to protect them.
They do kind of form a little bit of an alliance. And he does genuinely help them out and protect people when it's needed. And they do kind of have a very a tenuous alliance going on in the season.
And talk about transformations over the scope of a season. We start from Spike declaring Buffy as his mortal nemesis, basically, along with Harmony. We have to talk about Harmony separately another time. But the season ends on basically the shot of Spike crying his eyes out over dead Buffy.
Yeah.
And you think, wow, how is this transformed? And their almost like last discussion is that really poignant one in the house where she says, she invites him in. They're getting the weapons to get ready to fight Glory. And he says, you treat me like a man, even though he's a demon. Yeah. And it's a really nice acknowledgement between the two of them. And you think, okay, peace has been made.
Yeah, but he does also do some weird shit.
He does a lot of weird shit. Like, he wouldn't be Spike if he wasn't...
He builds the Buffy robot.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that.
Like, that's pretty creepy.
Oh, God, I'm just
he then has sex with the Buffy robot multiple times.
I'm so willing to overlook Spike's discretions that I completely forgot that. And you're right. But what a good episode that is.
And it ends up, because you start with it being like, oh my God, Spike, what the hell are you doing? This is so disgusting and creepy. And then in the end, it becomes like quite a touching moment between the two of them.
Yes. I think it's the first real
kiss.
Yeah. Which,
and he can tell. He can just tell it's her immediately.
Yeah. It's super well acted. And again, you think, can there be another season, please? Because I'm going to need some more of this. Like, please tell me this is going to go somewhere because it's interesting. And Spike I mean, James Masters is so good. And I think we get those wonderful concept episodes where we go back in time and see the evolution of Spike.
Yes, you see some of his history, don't you?
Some of his history, yeah. And he is quite an empathetic character, despite that episode being full of him killing previous Slayers. I'm just so biased. I'll just overlook anything. I'm like, yeah, that episode where he kills 2 Slayers, but he also did poetry, and that lady was mean to him. Yeah, I'm afraid I'm team Spike. Anyway, more of that in season 6. Let's talk about probably the most powerful thing of season 5, the other huge risk that it takes, which is it decides to kill Joyce.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Devastating. And for ages you think it's something malicious going on magically, like there's lots of hints that maybe the spells that are going on with the key or something are somehow related to Joyce getting ill, and she kind of gets better, and so people think it must have gone away, and but ultimately turns out that she was just ill.
Yeah, she had a sort of brain disease, and she ultimately has a sort of brain bleed, doesn't she? A kind of hemorrhage.
Yeah.
And it does that thing that Buffy does so well, which is in a show that is always about supernatural stuff, it has the confidence to do a whole storyline in an incredibly powerful episode where nothing supernatural at all has happened. Yeah. Somebody's mum really tragically dies.
And that episode, The Body, is often cited as like the best episode of Buffy.
Yeah. In a way that in season 4, we gave some time separately to talking about The Gentleman.
Yes.
And that whole episode, Hush.
Yeah.
If we had the time, this is kind of the equivalent of that episode in season 5, isn't it?
Yeah. It's just an extremely well done look at what it is like to lose a family member and suddenly have everyone around you treating you weirdly, treating them weirdly. You know, the title of the episode, The Body, is used across the episode, where it's just so jarring every time someone uses this term like the body to describe
her mum,
Joyce, who we know and we love, and suddenly is like reduced to this like object in the space of like no time, and we're not prepared for it. And it makes you realize how how unprepared we are for death and how to treat that whole situation.
Yeah. And it makes Buffy really vulnerable in a season that otherwise, we were saying for the first half, Buffy's on a bit of a high.
Yeah.
Like in the run up to Joyce's death, Buffy is feeling stronger than she's ever felt. She has relinquished Riley. She's on such a high that's why you get her saying to Spike, you know, you're beneath me. You sort of feel like Buffy's on, you know, kind of hit her stride. And then you take away her mum and you realize that like even superheroes, like you don't want to take away anybody's mum. I almost can't watch it. It's so upsetting. Brilliant acting from Sarah Michelle Gellar. And it's shot in such an unforgiving way. Like she literally finds Joyce's dead body on the sofa.
Yeah. And
there's a non-ending tracking shot that has her like try and wake her up, try and shake her, try and ring someone, it's really hard to watch that episode, and it's not supernatural at all.
No.
And it pays homage to a character that otherwise you could be forgiven feels like a little bit of a side character. But the minute you remove Joyce, you realise how important she was.
Yeah, to everyone.
Willow has that very powerful and moving kind of breakdown where she's worrying about what to wear.
Yeah.
Brilliant from Alison Hannigan. And Anya has that speech.
Yeah, she really like vocalizes all the confusion around death and how it can be possible, and from a kind of a non-human perspective, but looking at like, but kind of verbalizing what a lot of people struggle to say about why death is just so confusing. Like, how can you go from being there to not being there in like a split second?
Yeah.
Which is terrifying.
Yeah. We have talked so much when we've had discussions about anything YA that the recurrent trope of YA is that you have these absent parents.
Yeah.
You either kill them off immediately or they're dead at the start, like Harry Potter's parents, or they're dead within the first book, a la Hunger Games. Twilight, her mum's in like a completely different state. Parents almost sort of supernatural things feel like you got to get rid of the parents.
Parents can get in the way of storylines.
And yet Buffy embraces Joyce and makes Joyce work all the way through the first 5 seasons to the point where you think, oh, wait, hang on. Don't kill Joyce. She was great. And that is different, I think, from almost anything else that's in a similar genre in a way that really works. So that's the death of Joyce, which brings us to, we've really got to talk about the finale here. The gift episode and how this whole business with the key and Glory and really Buffy's kind of journey ends.
And it kind of, it ties into the themes of the whole season around family, right? Because ultimately what Glory is after is Dawn, is the sister. And they've all, we've gotten to the point now where Dawn really is Buffy's sister. And they've gone through this, this family event together, and that even the fact that Joyce has died has kind of brought them to be closer and to really become a family. And so it is kind of tragic that ultimately in the finale what we know is that Glory is going after Dawn, specifically Dawn, and so we know it's going to come down to something around that relationship in the end.
And once Joyce dies, it begins this almost last third of the season where Buffy goes from her very high to a very low. And we get Buffy basically talking about quitting if Dawn dies. There's nothing left to live for. She gets to such a dark place that she becomes comatose in an episode that actually I really hate and find to be a bit of a filler before the finale. And she basically gives up. She realizes that she can't fight Glory. She can't win. And we're back to me hating watching kind of lethargic Buffy. I, like Willow, want to tell her to snap out of it. The next episode is then the gift, is then the big fight, the big showdown. But to get to that big showdown, we have that absolutely mental, high-speed caravan chase.
The whole show turns into a western for like half an episode.
It's the most bizarre thing.
They do a chase across the desert with like horses, and then they like lock themselves up in a barn, which it's all got very western vibes.
I can never decide when I watch that episode whether I'm really into it and I think, wow, again, the scale of this is, there's like a full-on siege. Willow is erecting kind of force fields.
Magic force field around the barn.
And it could get stupid, except that there's serious jeopardy. At some points you think Giles might die. He's been seriously wounded. There's a very clever and suspenseful use of Ben/Glory when they invite Ben in as a doctor.
Because they don't realise. And there's some like memory stuff going on where they keep forgetting the fact that they did know that Ben and Glory were the same person. And Spike's the only one that does know because he's not affected by the magic.
That's where he gets the, is everyone here very stoned? line. It's so good. But all of this is just starting to tumble us towards the big finale, where we've got to have a big fight.
And we're like back in the town, which is good.
Oh yeah, we're back in Sunnydale.
Weird distraction where we ended up in the desert.
I know. Yeah, when we moved out to the desert in those episodes, I thought this can't be where we make our last stand because Buffy is a show about Sunnydale. And I don't like that we're randomly out in the Californian desert. Can we please get back to the town? And quite rightly, it all ends on that big scaffold where Dawn is sort of sacrificially tied up at the top and they have to all try and get to her.
And they're all trying to save her. In particular, Spike. Spike is trying very hard to help.
Doesn't do very well.
No.
I don't like how that plays. It just gets pushed out off the tower and I think, come on, Spike, you can take this weird lizard doctor. Like, what? That's useless. But everybody gets a great moment. Xander hits Glory with a kind of giant bulldozer, like a wrecking ball. It gets very Miley Cyrus for a moment. Like, that's pretty cool. Anya is awesome in that sequence, and you get the proper extended fight sequence between Buffy and Glory. Which is a good one.
And we're also seeing, as we kind of mentioned, Willow's powers being used a lot in that last episode. And like her we're kind of seeing how powerful Willow is able to be as a witch and how useful she is.
That a little bit like the seeds being planted of possible chemistry between Buffy and Spike. The planting of seeds of how powerful Willow is going to be is another thing where I think I could do another season of this.
Yeah.
Like, I could watch on.
Yeah.
When you watched it, either for the first time or when you rewatch chronologically, can you remember whether you had realised that Buffy was going to die?
I don't know exactly when I realised. I think I remembered rewatching it pretty quickly when she gets up there that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It kind of becomes inevitable.
Yeah.
I don't know when they work out exactly that would actually help in any way. When she just kind of works out that, she is part of Dawn and Dawn is part of her, and therefore, like,
it's the same blood.
And
their blood is the same.
She can also be the key. But it does become inevitable that it's going to have to be one or the other of them. Mm-hmm. And having just had Joyce die, it would be a kind of strange ending for the ending to be Dawn dies.
Yeah.
So unless there can be some miraculous everyone survives, but they haven't set it up for that.
No. But so it could have been that.
It could have been
they
that.
Could have found
a way.
And they've managed to, save off as many apocalypses as possible.
Of course. Yeah. They could have found a way, but it did also feel like when it happened, it doesn't feel like it feels prepared for. You're like, oh yeah, Yeah.
Enough clues have been laid. I can never remember whether watching it as like a 9 or 10-year-old, I can't remember whether I was expecting that Buffy was going to die or whether I was surprised.
Probably not. But
now when I rewatch it with that definite knowledge, it's all I can see are the breadcrumbs all the way along about death is your gift. Mm-hmm. We share Summer's blood. And it is very carefully plotted so that when Buffy does realise that she can replace Dawn as the key, you feel satisfied, like, oh yes, the writing
it makes sense.
Has allowed that to make sense, which is good. And that end sequence where she tells Dawn, that the hardest thing in this world is to live in it and to live. It feels I can't watch that episode without crying. I find it very, very sad.
But do you think the first time round you watched it, you would have really thought she was really dead?
I think students of quite literally the television history of Buffy might suggest... I believe that was in some way meant to be the actual end of Buffy. After that, Buffy changes channels.
Yeah.
Some of the writers change. It feels like if that had been the end, it could have been the end.
Yeah.
And that was almost a satisfying end.
Yeah.
And Buffy dies to save the world.
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
And her sister.
Yeah, and when I rewatch that montage, there are bits where all the characters get their little heroic moment, and things get said about Buffy. Like Giles does that speech to Ben before he kills him, of saying she couldn't take a human life. She's a hero, you see. And you think, this is really the show setting up Buffy's death. But at the same time, I want to watch on. I'm not at all surprised it got commissioned for more seasons because there was so much more mileage. It had so much more to give. And I bet that decision was made at some point because the last shot of season 5 feels really pants. It's just her tombstone and it says like, she saved the world a lot. And then just roll credits.
And you're like, oh, okay.
And you think, right, well, okay, have we decided by this point there's going to be a season 6? Because if that's the end to the epic that is Buffy, then I'm not satisfied with that end. So thank goodness I'm satisfied with the fact that Buffy dies.
But the actual way that it was shot and ended, you'd want something a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm all right with the scaffold sequence. And I like the montage of all her friends crying and the voiceover of what she says to Dawn. But then there's just the weird shot of just like her tomb and then it's roll credits.
Setting up, and then she comes back from the grave.
Yes, absolutely, which we will have to talk about next time.
Yes, so luckily there is plenty more to watch and to talk about.
Thank God.
And I think next episode is going to be our last, well, not next episode, but our next Buffy episode will be our last Buffy episode.
Very much 6 and 7 feel like they are a piece together. Yeah. And so at that point, we will talk about the true end of Buffy.
Yeah.
And it will be the end of our sequence of Buffy deep dives.
Yeah.
At which point we'll have to decide between things like Harry Potter or Game of Thrones.
Our next big topic.
Yeah, exactly. And we will see you all then. You've been listening to the Fangirl Diaries. Follow us on Instagram at Fangirl Diaries Pod.
And do share us with any of your friends that you think might enjoy the podcast, and rate or review us on Spotify or Apple Music.